guys, and welcome to another edition of Market Marauders, beating the market one trade at a time. If you're new to Market Marauders, welcome. So let's jump into it. All right, so it's been a crazy week this week. I'm going to be giving you some of the stock news that happened this week just so that you're informed. So let's jump into it. So first in the news, Georgia orders Trump-Biden vote to be recounted. Top election officials in the southern U.S. state of Georgia on Wednesday ordered a hand audit of the close vote there between President Donald Trump and President-elect Joe Biden. With most all of the votes counted in Georgia, Trump's Democratic challenger for four-year term in the White House leading by 14,112 votes out of the nearly 5 million votes cast in the state. So they just basically ordered a hand recount. This is the only state that I know of that is doing this hand recount, but it still is called President-elect for a reason. So it's not a political channel, not to tell you who to vote for, not tell you who you should like president-wise, because at the end of the day, I really don't care. But this is just to say, the race is still going. So, with the election, I guess, still going on, I predict there's still going to be some more volatility in the market until we get certainty on what is actually going on. So in other news, we have Peloton. Peloton has decided to make a deal with the singer Beyonce. So this week, Peloton announced a multi-year partnership with Beyonce. They said it was their most requested artist. So she's going to be doing a couple of classes on there. But to me, it is basically the rebirth of Peloton. If you're familiar, Peloton had been struggling for quite a while because they had a large recall on a lot of their bikes. But, if they're doing this rebranding, asking people, what artists they like and incorporating those artists, I think this will definitely help the company as a whole, especially, listening to what people are requesting will help increase the amount of people who use their specific bikes and other devices. So I think it was a pretty strategic, good move for the company. And I'm interested to see how this is going to affect whether people buy the bikes or whether people buy their service in the long term. So I think this is kind of a test run with Beyonce to see, how it's going to actually behave. But if it works out positively, I think I could see them working with other artists to continue to grow their brand. So I think it was a very good strategic move from them, especially considering, they were being overlooked because of their recall for their bikes. So in other news, the Xbox Series X is out and available. So it is out and available. It is out on the market. If any of you all want to donate one or buy one for an early Christmas gift for me, I will definitely take it. I do have a P.O. box down below if you all want to send me one, or a PS5, either or. I'll definitely accept that gift or token appreciation. But otherwise, I'm not really big into gaming that much. I haven't been for a while, but I know for stock-wise, since this is an investment channel, I know the Microsoft stock has definitely been going up based on this news. And I think, the system looks nice. I think it's a pretty good design. A lot of people are talking about it, about how, they're excited for it to be out. And we'll see as time goes on. Hopefully the last system that I had Xbox-wise was an Xbox Arcade. And it luckily did not get the red ring of death. So it survived the red ring of death. But it definitely was, a fun system to have. Then I switched over to PS4, which I liked as well. So, either system I like. But, that's basically my whole gaming system history. Going to the other one, we have PlayStation, which has released their PlayStation 5, which is out now. I know a lot of people are complaining about they weren't able to get access to it, or I know on Walmart there was a big problem where a bunch of bots bought all the PlayStations once they were released because Walmart was like, we're going to have all of our PS5s online only and not in stores, which is like the dumbest thing you could possibly do market-wise. But I understand with the whole pandemic and stuff going on, they didn't want chaos going on in their stores and people lining up in the stores. But I think it should have been a 50-50 effort. They should have had half of the inventory in stores and then half of the inventory, online just for that whole bot reason. But the systems are out and people are just going to have to wait to get it. I've seen, crazy, markups on this. I think the system sells around, 400 or $500. But I've seen people selling it for like $1,500. So, crazy. I will definitely wait to get one if I do get one. Not really, going to pay that much money for one out there. I know eBay's going crazy with people who got one, but they're selling it for, crazy amounts. But if you got one out there, good luck to you. I know a lot of celebrities were able to get one early, but, I definitely think stock-wise, this will help Sony in the long term. So definitely going to be looking at Sony and Microsoft as time goes on for their sale numbers of the Xbox Series X and the PS5. So going into other news, we have Moderna should be giving an update on their virus candidate in a couple of weeks. So a couple weeks ago, Pfizer and BioNTech gave their update on their vaccine candidate that said it had a 90% efficacy rate, which basically means it's 90% effective. It has not gotten FDA approval yet. They're waiting for more data from Moderna to come out, which I don't think Pfizer is waiting for more data, or the FDA. But I know in general there are multiple vaccine candidates that are in phase 3 trial, which is basically the last phase. And I think the FDA could potentially be waiting to, have all of these different vaccines come together and then just do one large approval of all of them instead of doing individual, approvals of one, then another, then another, then another. But there are multiple different vaccines out there, so you don't have to go with just one single source. So you don't have to go and say I want the Pfizer one. There's the Moderna one. There's Johnson & Johnson still out there, AstraZeneca. So a lot of other companies out there that are going to have this vaccine. The main part about it is the efficacy, or the percent efficacy that's going to be out there. So Pfizer really set the bar pretty high by having a 90% efficacy. If Moderna can come in, in a similar range, I know the cutoff I think was 70, so they were looking at a number around 70. So I think anything above 70 would be pretty good for Moderna in general. But if Moderna can come and have a 90% as well, I think that would yield very profitable for the company. And I think both Pfizer and Moderna stock-wise will go up after that news comes out. Now, if Moderna comes out with like a 70% or 80%, anything below Pfizer, I think it's going to make Pfizer go up and Moderna go down, just for the fact that there's already a bar set really high by having that 90% efficacy. I don't think people will be more comfortable having, I think people in general are not comfortable taking the vaccine at all, but I think with an efficacy being lower than the current bar that's been set at 90%, I think people are going to feel even more uncomfortable considering having that vaccine. So definitely look for updates on Moderna's vaccine coming out and their efficacy in the coming weeks. So this week as well, Unity and Palantir's revenues came out, and they were fantastic. So Unity reported revenue growth of their third quarter of 53% to $200.8 million, which was an amazing metric. And Planeteer's revenue for the quarter jumped 52% to $289.4 million. So both of these stocks have been going up tremendously. I know Planeteer, people have been talking about it, trading wise, seeing it trade. I've actually seen it continue to go up for the whole week, and it's still going up. It ended on a positive note this week. So I would say definitely look at it as time goes on. Look at it for next week. It's probably an early morning mover because a lot of people are starting to catch on to see what the company is and what it does. So definitely keep your eyes on them for potential to put in your portfolio. So going into some more news that came out, Apple released their M1 chip. So Apple is getting into the chip game, which, it's been mainly them using Intel, but now, they developed their own silicon and they're doing their own thing. It has 5 nanometer processor with 16 billion transistors, which basically means, the more transistors, the smaller nanometers, basically the faster the chip is. That's all that really means in fancy engineering talk. And then it says up to 3.9 times faster video processing and 7.1 times faster image processing. So those are two big metrics that I know a lot of people use. A lot of people use Macs for video editing or just rendering videos. So having increased faster video processing and image processing is definitely going to help out with that. Has 8-core CPU and 3.5 times faster CPU performance. So that's going to help out. And the chip in general, to me, I think is setting a lot of industry benchmarks. So it's kind of not just, an upgrade for Apple. It's kind of Apple setting the precedence that they're here as a hardware company, not just a software or cell phone company. So device-wise, they're making themselves very competitive with companies like NVIDIA, Intel, and another Qualcomm, other companies that make a lot of chips or chipsets that are out there. So I definitely would say, it's a pretty big move for Mac for them to have their own chip and it to be competitive in the marketplace. So not only is, it's something to have a company that's like, oh, we have our own chipset, but how does it compare to the other industries? If your chipset is not better than Intel's, there's no point of you leaving Intel. But they've kind of learned their processes and increased the way that they do their performance. So I think it's going to be benefiting them, and you could see other devices starting to use the M1 chip potentially in the future. Now, the EV space has been just booming. So this week, BMW unveiled an electric SUV called the iX. So the iX SUV is going to become the brand's flagship electric SUV. They claim that the SUV is going to have 300 miles of range and more than 500 horsepower and 0 to 60 time of under 5 seconds. So not a slow vehicle by SUV standards, but definitely going to be a competitor to the Model Y of Tesla and other SUVs that are coming out there that's going to be electric. So the Model Y to me is really the only, I guess, production SUV that is, or the Model Y and Model X are the only production SUVs that I know of, or you could consider them SUVs in the EV space. There may be more. If there are more, drop a comment down below and correct me if there are more out there that I may not be familiar with. But I think BMW is trying to jump in this electric race, as are a lot of other companies. So a lot of companies are joining this electric vehicle race, trying to, increase electric vehicle production. I think all this is based around a Biden win because they know once Biden comes into office, or if he comes into office, then there's going to be an increased amount of government funding for EV space. Going into another, merger or I guess partnership that I thought was pretty big. Target and Ulta have combined. 100 million loyal program members will provide exciting opportunity and shopping deals. And they're partnering to have a actual booth in an Ulta only booth into Target. So I think that's pretty cool. They said on Tuesday, the two unveiled a new deal to add skincare shops in select Target stores starting next year, with combined 100 million members registered to the company's respectively loyal programs. Both see an opportunity to reach new customers. It says through the deal, Ulta will set up stationary shops for about 1,000 square feet and to market a curated section of beauty brands, including makeup, fragrance, hair care products, among other items. Target plans to carry Ulta stores at 100 locations and dedicate space on its website. So basically, it is a partnership between Ulta and Target, which, I feel like people who shop at Ulta shop at Target anyway, but I think it's a pretty good move for Target to solidify that they are putting preferences on the beauty and cosmetic world, which we all know is a multi-million-dollar industry with, celebrities like Kylie Jenner and Rihanna, starting beauty lines and being very successful with their own sort of beauty products. So I think it's a very good move for Target and Ulta. And I don't see it being, some people may say, oh, well, if Ulta is going to be in Target, there's no point to go to Ulta. I think people are still going to go to Ulta because not every city that has an Ulta has a Target and vice versa. And people still go to Ulta just to go to Ulta. So, in, certain cities, there may be, an Ulta but not a Target. In other cities, there may be a Target but not an Ulta, or they're not directly next to each other. So, it's not a vice versa thing. It's not an either or thing. I think it's just a very good partnership overall. So going into some other news, there have been curfews put in the city of New York. So, with the increased amount of cases coming out, a lot of cities are beginning to add curfews. One city being New York. So it says on restaurants and bars across the state have been ordered to close indoor-outdoor dining nightly at 10 p.m. starting Friday. According to the governor's office, the governor indicated that the diners should have wrapped up their meals by curfew time. Takeout and delivery is still allowed after 10 p.m., but only food orders, takeout and delivery alcohol orders after 10 p.m. Will be off limits. And previously, restaurants in NYC were mandated to close outdoor dining at 11 p.m. and indoor dining at 12 a.m. So, to me, don't want to get into politics, but I think this is a pretty, how do you put it, a pretty audacious thing to do, considering, the service industry was hit the hardest by the pandemic, and they're starting to get, their feet back on their feet and starting to get money out there, and also considering the fact that there is no stimulus. So if there was a stimulus out there and, the stimulus was passed, I would be like, okay, giving a curfew may be okay, just to try to calm it down. But from a monetary standpoint, having a curfew with no stimulus, meaning there's no way for these businesses to actually make money, and they're losing large amount of customers by having these curfews, I think is kind of, overbearing in my personal opinion. But I think, it's just the way that it goes. And, it's very sad to see the service industry suffer like this because of government regulations. So I think that, in the future, hopefully there will be a stimulus that can help this restaurant industry. I know, a lot of basically small restaurants who didn't, make it through the pandemic. They just basically went out of business. But now the ones that are making it are still getting more and more, hit harder by these regulations by government. So, hearts out to all the restaurant workers out there, the people who own the restaurants. I know it's difficult for a lot of those people out there, but, hopefully there will be a stimulus that can come and it'll be passed that will directly help them, those people out in those restaurant situations. Another city, also Chicago. So Chicago has basically said that they're issuing a curfew. So they're saying that they issued an amendment. So under the order, business curfew will be in effect from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. for non-essential businesses. It says under amended emergency travel order, states will be placed in 3 categories: red, orange, and yellow, based on the status of the outbreak in the states, how the data compares to the situation in Chicago. And then it talks about beginning November 16th, residents are advised to stay at home in response to increase in cases and hospitalizations, and only leave home to go to work, school, for essential needs such as seeking medical care, going to the grocery store, going to the pharmacy, picking up takeout, or receiving deliveries. Additionally, residents are strongly advised to not have guests in their homes, cancel traditional Thanksgiving celebrations, and avoid travel. The advisory also outlines additional pandemic alert regulations such as further limitations on indoor-outdoor meetings and social events, increased enforcement of limits, privileges, gathering, industry restrictions, and so forth and so on. So another way that government is imposing on people, in my opinion, I think it doesn't really make any sense logically to me that you can wear a mask to go to the grocery store that has large amounts of people, but you can't have a Thanksgiving celebration at your house. So that to me is kind of weird. Kind of, I guess from a logic standpoint, doesn't really make any sense. Because I mean, I don't have a family of 20, 50 people that are going to be at my house. And those people who are worried about the pandemic situation, we can always live stream with those people. Technology is here. We can always video chat those people. But the people who do want to come and have Thanksgiving with their family, I don't see why that should be canceled. But you can go to the grocery store and wear a mask. So yeah, it doesn't really make any sense to me. But that's just the way that it's going. Those are the regulations. So, if you want to stay within the regulations, then, stay in the regulations. Make sure you're following your city's guidelines. This video is not telling you to break the law. So this video is telling you, stay in the guidelines, but those are the guidelines. So those are two cities that are starting to mandate these curfews as well as these masks. And I feel like they're going to be more to come with other states. But that's just the way that it is going. In a lighter subject, we have Costco has said that they are announcing a $17,499 one-year membership for private jetting. So when you buy it, it is a one-year membership, and then you get a Costco $3,500 shopping card, and you get a $4,000 flight credit card. So it basically is where you can go. It's through a company called Wheels Up. So it's not, they don't have different jets. So it's not like Costco is out buying jets for this service. They're partnering with a company called Wheels Up, where you can get a private jet for basically $17,000 a year. I think it's a pretty good plan. I think it's cool. Especially with the airline industry. I know probably there are a lot of pilots out there who would love to sign up to do this, especially, with the people who can't afford it. And $17,499, people may say, wow, that's a lot of money. That's, I could never afford that. But you got to think it's a one-year membership. So, if you have this membership, you as a family can probably get together and put together this $17,000 to get this membership, and then whomever is the major person or the main person on the account, I feel I could always add people with the flight. So I don't see it as being one person is going to have this $17,000 flight, and then they're going to make another person buy the $17,000 1 year. I feel like it's going to be one person buys it, and then if you're taking a trip, you're obviously going to bring people with you. Then those people will have a small fee or so to go to travel with you. So I think it's pretty cool. It definitely is giving access to, I guess, baller status. People want to say, oh, I'm flying on a private jet, I'm somebody. But I think it makes it affordable for people to do so, and definitely going to be looking into this company Wheels Up as that goes on. I actually want to see the numbers to see how many people actually are buying this. So definitely going to be looking at Costco earnings when it comes out, and hopefully they'll give more insight on this actual Wheels Up flight plan. So there's not a Costco in my local area that I live in, but if I get to one, I'll definitely go try to check this out and probably read the back of that to get more details. I'll probably also go to Costco's website to see what this deal is more about, because I'm very interested in this partnership that they have with Wheels Up. Now, lastly, just want to talk about the EV space. We see the EV space kind of had a major sell-off towards the end of the week. So this is NIO, Workhorse, XPENG, and Tesla. So NIO and XPENG being the two Chinese companies, Workhorse and Tesla being the two American companies. But they all had run-ups this week. So I don't think that this run-up is over. NIO went all the way up to $54.20 before it sold off towards the end of the week. But it looks like it's on its dead cat bounce, which basically means that it's going to bounce and start to go back up towards next week. So I think next week we could see it probably not touching 52 or 54, but I think probably around 48 or possibly 50 next week on this bounce. Workhorse, the same thing. They fell off, but they fell down back to the levels before their breakout. So I can see them potentially going back up to the 2079 price that they were at last week. And then XPENG definitely went up quite a bit again. Their bounce, they bounced basically off the level of the beginning of their breakout, so I could see them testing that 51.27 level again. And then Tesla has been kind of running sideways for a while. It's definitely looking for more updates on that company as a whole to see what things they have coming out, but they have tested a 452 level. So Tesla being the most volatile one out of this list, in my personal opinion, I think Tesla has the most work to do to actually push this stock to move. Otherwise, I think it's going to continue to go sideways. So I will look at NIO, Workhorse, and XPENG to be the ones that are probably moved the most next week. So EVs have definitely grown. We can see with BMW having their iX SUV definitely going to be a 2021 full of electric vehicle releases and electric vehicle updates. So good luck to everybody out there trading, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.